Okay, so we have some breaking news regarding your Philadelphia 76ers. Around 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon, it was announced that Doc Rivers was hired as the next head coach for the team. As you know, Doc Rivers was fired 3 days ago by the Los Angeles Clippers after they blew a 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs in the NBA bubble. The contract details are as followed. It is a 5-year contract. We are not sure how much it is worth yet, just because the details have not come out, but I'm sure they will be presented soon within the next few days. Initial reports have not said anything regarding whether Doc will be giving a head front office position title, but if you truly believe that he will have no input or have heavy input in the new roster construction, then you are kidding yourself, because he is so tied into NBA circles. Now, this signing happened pretty fast in the grand scheme of basketball operations. 2 nights ago, while everyone was watching LeBron and Jimmy Butler face off in the first game of the NBA Finals, it was first reported by Jason Dumas, who is a Philadelphia native, as well as a Syracuse University grad, shout out to Bull, that GM Elton Brand and Sixers ownership, Josh Harris and David Blitzer, they sat down with Doc for what we are going to call a wooing blind date, per se. As you recall, all reports were pointing to the fact that the Sixers were down choosing between Ty Lue and Mike D'Antoni for the head coaching vacant position. But once Doc's name was available, they pounced on the opportunity, just as they should have. Like, this is a commendable operation that Sixers management has done, and we haven't really been able to say that the last 3 or so years. So I'ma congratulate Sixers management, Sixers ownership, the front office, because they finally got something right. Good job, y'all. So this is the best option that the 76ers were presented with, in my opinion. Out of all the head coaching prospects that were available to the actual team, Doc Rivers clearly stood tall amongst all of them. Thank God that we hired this man, yo. Like, I'm honestly, I'm not gonna say yes, I am ecstatic by this hire, because I really feel like this has saved our future, or gives us the best future going forward. Real quick, you already know D'Antoni is sick as hell, because all reports within the last few days were saying that it was his job to lose, and somehow Doc, after getting fired about 3-4 days ago, swept in and took the man's job. Like, you already know Bull is sick as hell. In fact, ranking the actual pecking order of the coaches who we could have gotten, my list was first Doc, second Tyronn Lue, who was last seen coaching under Doc in the Los Angeles Clippers organization, and before within the Cleveland Cavs, where he won a championship with LeBron James back in 2017, I believe. I could be wrong, but then Mike D'Antoni, who last coached for the Houston Rockets. I don't know, I just didn't really like D'Antoni's fast-paced run and like gun-like scheme, especially with this team's roster construction. Of course, we were going to trade certain pieces to run his offense, but I didn't see how that could work with a 6'10" point guard and a 7-foot center who both operate around the rim. It wasn't going to work, and eventually I thought it was going to ultimately lead to one of those 2 players being traded, which I didn't want. But I digress off of that BS, because it doesn't matter. D'Antoni's not here. We have hired Doc Mother-loving Glenn Rivers, and the future is saved. So my overall thoughts on this hire, as I just said, I love this hire, this signing by the team, because realistically, who was the better option at that time? A lot of people want to talk about his flaws, which I get, because I do understand his underachieving, especially the amount of 3-1 leads he has relinquished as head coach. I believe it was about 3 times, and he has never recently reached the 3rd round of the NBA playoffs. But Doc is obviously in the upper echelon of NBA coaches. And if he's not, he is just under one level from them. Because if we're going to talk about those great upper echelon coaches, such as, you know, Coach Spo, let's say Coach Pop, if you even want to get into it with, let's just say Nick Nurse, and I'm probably forgetting a few. Those coaches are cemented in their teams and they are not available. So when you do have a guy with the amount of stature and cachet as Doc Rivers, you go out, you get him. I don't understand how like you can really hate on this hire, especially when he was literally the best coach available. I don't get it. But if you can somehow explain it, and you want to say your side, tell me in the comment section. I will gladly read it. So with all that being said, and even with his flaws, he still has a championship pedigree. From all accounts, people respect him, and he commands every single room in which he walks in. Everybody was caping for accountability of our two stars, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So with this coach, who has taught the likes of Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Paul Pierce, KG, Rondo, you know, all-time great players, I will expect nothing less of what he will do for our two stars. And in addition to that, just to, you know, throw out some, like, you know, stats, Doc has a winning record each of his 13 seasons as NBA coach. And also, I love this hire because it not only makes Philadelphia a destination where players want to actually come play for Doc, but it also allows other NBA coaches, good NBA coaches, come and assist under Doc to help the team as well. Because Bulls really forget that, like, assistant coaches really do have input on the success of teams. You can look in other sports, you know, Frank Reich, who was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles during their Super Bowl run. You can also go back to the Sixers, looking at the assistant head coaches who worked under Brett Brown the last 2-3 years, Monty Williams, Lloyd Pierce, both of them who now have head coaching gigs in Atlanta and Phoenix respectively. The coaching staff matters, and with a guy like Doc leading charge here, people are going to want to come. It's a win-win, plus, positive. Case in point, unequivocally, I believe that this coaching hire saved the trajectory of the Philadelphia 76ers to this point, more specifically the duo of Ben and Joel. I don't think Doc even comes here if he truly believes this organization is beyond fixing. I feel like he's been in too many organizations who have shown the actual willingness and competentness to win. I think that is a good sign. This is salvageable. If you follow my actual Instagram page at the Ben and Joe Show, you know that a while back I said the Sixers were completely screwed after losing to the Celtics, getting swept, and after firing Brett Brown, just because there was no trustable direction from upper heads. We were obviously lucky, because if like you told me in the beginning of last season that Doc Rivers would be available towards the end of the bubble, I would probably laugh in your face and say you don't know basketball. But as luck would have it, he was fired in the nick of time for us to pick him up. So shout out to the basketball gods, because they gave us one more chance. We cannot screw this up. So looking at this realistically, if Ben and Joel cannot win with Doc as their head coach, then they won't be able to win it with anybody. And that's just speaking facts. Like if these players truly cannot acquiesce and want to be mentored by this coach, who have seen and taught the likes of NBA royalty, NBA Hall of Famers, then they're just uncoachable and they weren't going to win regardless. So I really think this is a beautiful hire and is the best thing that could have happened to this team, miraculously. So you already know, as a Sixers YouTube channel, as a Sixers fanalist, I'm going to deep dive into the team. And you already know I have to take shots at the ownership group and management. So it was reported again by Jason Dumas that there was an internal struggle between Sixers management and GM Elton Brand for who they were going to choose as the team's next head coach. Supposedly, ownership didn't want to hire Ty Lue, and they were enamored by the prospect of hiring Mike D'Antoni, who interestingly coached under Brett Brown here in Philadelphia during the early process years. So D'Antoni did have relationships with the ownership group. The only problem was GM Elton Brand did not want him, and it's reported that he was leaning more so towards Ty Lue. My thing is, I thought they were saying that Elton Brand had full autonomy of basketball operations. If this is the case, that management, wanted a different guy and was literally fighting tooth and nail against Elton Brand, the basketball guy, what does that say about ownership? What does this say about the direction this team is going or could have gone, right? I've said this once, I say it twice, I'll say it 3 times, I'll say it 5 times, I'll say it. Management, this team is lying to us fans. It is clear, bro. Like, how are you guys telling us one thing in the media, and then these special reports come out, these low-key report leaks come out saying differently? Josh Harris and David Blitzer need to quit and sell the team, because they were lucky as hell that Doc Rivers became available after being fired. If Mike D'Antoni truly became this team's head coach, we're going to be in trouble. Well, not just that, but we were never going to win a championship. It's clear. The fact that a basketball guy, someone who has played in the league, GM Elton Brand said, look, I want Ty Lue to coach this team. All signs are pointing to it. What we do know is that he said, no, I do not want Mike D'Antoni. And Sixers ownership said, nah, screw that. These people do not care about us fans, bro. There was a feeling after Brett Brown got fired, and there was no clear direction because management always has their hands, their grubby little private equity hands in basketball operations. We were never going to go nowhere until the basketball gods said, Sam Hinkie shall be vindicated. The process shall work. The process will still continue, even though it's done since 2018, but whatever. The basketball god hand of Providence helped this team, y'all. And even though Doc is a beautiful hire, I do not feel comfortable going forward into the future with this management team, bruh. Because they clearly do not know what the hell they are doing, and they are lying to our faces. Just my thoughts, though. All of this starts at the top. All of this starts at the top of these sports franchises. If you do not have your ish together at the ownership level, how do you think the basketball team is going to perform? Seriously, though, it's just completely frustrating, but I digress for now. So just to recap, the 76ers have informed the NBA basketball universe that they have hired Glenn Doc Rivers as their new coach, and I am completely 110% excited about it. I truly believe that this puts the team right back on track to where we want to be into the future. No, I do not believe we will win a chip next year. That wouldn't necessarily make sense, but this puts us in a hell of a better place than where we were after losing to the Celtics about a month and a half ago. And if that doesn't excite you, at least Joel Embiid franchise, big man, cry, baby, and my favorite player is happy about it. As always, thank you everybody for pulling up and listening to a brother. I am currently in the process of creating episode, I think it's episode 10, where I will be reviewing the Sixers season and where do they go from their disappointing, drop off. That is on the way. I apologize, it has been late, but if you are a Sixers fan, you understand pain. Let's just say that. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. If you know a Sixers fan, please share it with them so my channel can grow. It literally only takes 3 seconds, and it helps me out a great deal. Yeah, you already know them Bulls are mad because the process worked. We don't even gotta say it, even though I just said it, but like, you already know. So I will leave you with a clip of Doc Rivers speaking about the opportunity to coach Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I will see y'all next time. Peace.
Embiid is a better scorer, obviously, and does things, but and size, you have to plan for that. But Simmons has the ball. He's more like Magic, I guess. It's Magic and Kareem, I guess, in some ways. Where Magic had the ball and he was creating, getting everybody involved, and then, you gave the ball to Kareem and he scored. Embiid is tough because he can do both. Stretch fives are very difficult. He's a post five that can stretch five. Those guys are tough.